Going to talk today how to get good at golf. What does it take to get good at golf? What should you be concentrating on? This is kind of my philosophy on how you could improve your game and make sure you're getting the most from your leisure time. And if you wanted to take it further as well, how to really get the best out of your game. Obviously this will be relative to what you want to achieve as well, which we'll mention through the video. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe down below and hit that thumbs up button if you want to see more content like this. So let's take the skills on this first hole to kick us off. I've hit a drive. Now I've got a 58-degree wedge onto a downhill slope where I've got to judge the landing point, roll out, direction. Which I could do better. And then around this green, there's bunkers, there's slope, there's other things that are going to challenge me. And then there's putting, a very different skill, but again, it still is all interlinked to the skills I develop as a golfer and as a new golfer, or even still a golfer that's played for years now but has used a certain technique. My point, make sure you get good lessons at the beginning and even through your life that allow you to play each bit so you don't trip up at one bit. That can quite easily make you A, not be as good as you can be, but B, it can make you get a little bit upset with golf, kind of fall out of it. I see it time and time again. So golfers get into golf with their mates, they go and get playing, get hitting shots, they develop a technique, a skill based around, say, no lessons at the beginning and just trying to hit it down a range. And then what happens is they have a ability to, say, hit iron shots, but then their extreme twists or whatever's not been neutralized through good lessons at the beginning, say in a setup, in a twist, in a swing fault, just plays out to say that they can't do bunker shots. Now there's bunkers on the course everywhere. If you can't do bunker shots, you're going to have some pretty unenjoyable days, and you're certainly not going to be as good as you can be. If you can hit your iron shots but your driver just really lets you down because your technique just isn't built around the whole game, then this is not a good way of getting as good as you could be. Just learn some really good, from the beginning, foundations and fundamentals that will allow you to play each level of the brilliantly challenging different skills that golf throws at you. Don't get one-sided in your game too much if you want to achieve your most. You know, we're talking, I've had students who have played for 20 years with a grip that's like really, really strong or super, super twisted weak. And they say, you know, I've leveled out at like 14, I wanted to get to single figures. Yeah, that's the problem. We will level out, we will plateau. And if we have too big a fundamental issues, there's always kind of outliers in this as well. So I understand there's tall players doing some crazy stuff, so I get that. But we're not all as talented and as good as those. So giving ourselves the best chances to be as good as we can for the majority of golfers, it's just a really good starting point. Good solid lessons with some good solid foundations might allow you to be the best player you can be and enjoy this game for longer. Get on the course as fast as you can. So this is for newer golfers really. I mean, look at this shot. I'm in rough area. The ball is below my feet. It's a blind shot. There's so many aspects to this shot that you can't learn inside. And there's so many aspects to this shot that are so much fun. Can I control the sloping lie? Can I control how it comes out the rough for distance? It's slightly dewy rough as well. So there's all these aspects. Can I control the bounce when it gets up there because it's sloping to my right back there? What score am I trying to make from this position? Has that idea changed from if I hit the fairway or not? It's just so many brilliant things that make this game so fantastic, which you just can't learn inside that much. When I was teaching a lot of new golfers or people returning to golf, I had a goal of getting them on the course within 6 lessons. So 6 was the max. If I wasn't getting them on the course within 6 lessons, I wasn't doing my job right, because they always had the most fun out there. And if you want to improve in all these many situations, you got to just keep getting in them. Golf is a great game of self-discovery. But often golfers are scared to try and self-discover. So what I mean by that is I hit a high chip there in a way to try and stop it on the slope. That's all coming from discovery. That's coming from practicing higher ones, lower ones. That's coming from practicing on hitting onto different slopes. It's having my lessons, getting my technique in a way that allows me to play some shots, and then getting out there and trying to discover what's my method of getting round. What's my preferred setup? Am I better at going high or low? Not just solely copying someone else's, where there is times where you can learn from others, obviously. But this self-discovery allows you to really learn how to get round the course in your most functional way. Just simple ideas when you get time. I've got two clubs here that go kind of within 20 yards of each other, 210 yards out. I've got a 6-iron and a 22-degree hybrid. We throw in here a little bit of wind off the left. Am I better at this distance with my 22-degree hybrid in this situation? So starting it up the left, moving it back, I've just slightly overturned that. Now if I go hard 6-iron, that's a more forward to slight draw shape, and the wind's just buffeted it back straight. Like, there's so much I can learn about my game if my technique is somewhere relatively neutral-ish, and if I can get out here and self-discover. This is definitely an aspect of the game I see a lot of golfers just scared to do. They're too busy trying to do it right. Right is kind of this wide. That's your, like, there's your right, so you can be this side of correct, this side of correct. Right in the middle is like your perfect textbook written how to be perfect at golf. But there's variance in there. You've got to get within that variance for you, and then you've got to get out here and self-discover and play a bit. And the real annoying part is that it's constantly ongoing. So as you age, as you get confident and not, as the wind changes, the weather changes, as you change your clubs, it's constantly discovering new feelings that you have to try and manage. That's why we keep playing. Now this one sounds so basic, but it's something that so many trip up on. Measure your progress, some kind of basic stats or in-depth stats, whatever appeals to you, but don't get lost in your emotional evaluation of your game. That is a black hole of often not improving. You'll be amazed the amount of lessons that come to me and they tell me what they think the issue is, and then when we measure it just isn't. It's not anything like that. There's some completely different issues. By having some kind of structured measuring system on how you're improving or not will allow you to get better. Take this hole, for example. I often miss it out to the right. I've not measured enough because I don't play here enough. If I was a member here playing for my handicap, I'd be measuring, do I score better if I hit a 3-wood off a tee rather than a driver? Do I score better if I hit a hybrid off a tee? Do I play better if I try and position it rather than get as close to the green on this situation? Because the hole doesn't suit my eye, or those kind of things. Where I feel that my driver gets me in trouble, I might look at my scoring average for this hole and see that it's kind of on par. So my emotional ideas of how I play this hole are simply not representing what I actually do when I play this hole. Measure your improvement. It won't be this horrible emotional based thing. Golf's tough. It emotionally beats us up. We need to beat that. That's one of its best skills. Gets in there. So don't get lost in YouTube. Now, lots of you might think this is an interesting one, bearing in mind this is a platform I use to produce content to try and help golfers. But from the beginning of producing content to even now, the message for me is the same. Get lessons. Use any of the information I put out there to help you be more informed when you go to speak to your one-to-one coach or in your group lesson or whatever it is. Nothing beats having some advice that is for you. Now, the trouble I see with people who get lost in the rabbit hole of YouTube is that they want everyone's medicine all the time, and that's the problem with the platform. And certainly with the way lots of people maybe deliver the you must do these and you must do that, will fix it forever. If you're someone watching videos and not improving, maybe stop watching videos or watch them more for entertainment, or to have some ideas to take to your pros. Now, on the flip side to that, there are plenty of people out there who've got some really good information from YouTube. It's helped them discover some ideas, and I think it's great as well as dangerous. Maybe trying to have everyone's medicine all at once, which is what YouTube can deliver at you, Oh, that's a nice shot. Learned that one on YouTube. Might be a little bit dangerous. Be mindful of the YouTube rabbit hole. Get some personalised advice. Just use it to maybe get wiser at what questions to ask. Short game skills, putting, chipping. These are real free wins for lots of golfers that they simply do not take. You can practice these skills at home, in the office, in the kitchen, in the living room. You can literally practice these skills in a bit of garden, on a bit of grass, around a green in an evening if you get a chance. These are skills where we're now not really relating it massively to power. So if you're not as strong as Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, these are skills that are more of a leveler. Now, I'm not saying they're the most important skills, because hitting the ball a long way obviously has its benefits and what have you, but these are still skills. There are still gains to be had here. And I don't see enough golfers doing maybe stuff off course as well as on enough in this area. It's these ideas of being creative, playing the silly flop shot, practicing the correct shot, but at the same time playing around with a slam dunk, the silly shot. These ideas will help you get out of some really nasty situations that you do find on the course, and they're things that you can be doing around a green in an evening, on a practice chipping green. They're definitely things you can still be doing at home when you haven't got the time to get out to the course. If you want to be the best player you can be, unfortunately, what the best players tend to do is they practice a lot, yes, but when they don't practice, they're still thinking about golf. They're still challenging their skills at golf. They're integrating it into their lifestyle. They're hitting X amount of putts a day, after work, before work, during work. Make sure you do your work. The short game area, there's so many free games, and I just simply don't see amateurs take enough advantage of them. Do that a bit more than your opponent, there's a good chance you might beat them and get the best you can be. Manage expectations. Now this one is huge for improvement and enjoyment. I'm 77 yards out and I need to have some idea of how close I'm expected to hit this ball for my ability. This is huge because if you understand what your proximity, so the distance you should hit the ball to the hole, say on average with a deviation from those averages, from those certain distances, you'll understand if you are doing what you should need to do or not, if you should be upset or not. If you have unrealistic expectations, and a little point of fun, most golfers, and I mean most that I teach, have very unrealistic expectations in certain departments. So their total score, they're generally a little bit more aware of that, even though they do get that a little mixed up as well relative to their handicap. But how close they should hit the ball from certain distances, they just literally are looking at like tour's best sometimes. Even if they don't look at the numbers, ask them how close should you hit a ball from this distance, and they say their expectation. I think, well, not even tour pros are doing that. Having good expectations of what you're meant to achieve with different shots will allow you to manage your emotions. It will allow you to focus on aspects of your game that need improving or not, and that's often the case. People are trying to improve bits that don't need improving, and you ain't going to be the best you can be if you're not working on the elements of your game that actually need fixing. And this is the point relative to the stats as well. I think if you understand, if you have some basic measured improvement package in your game, so you're collecting a few stats, you'll be amazed at how quick you can really focus in on the real issues in your game and not get lost in YouTube, or not get lost in trying to create perfect backswings and having those real expectations. This one is massive. Be open-minded to new ideas and to learning. Golf is such an institution. Golf is quite an amazing sport where it can be brilliant, it can be also very backward and a little frustrating. You must wear this, don't walk on this grass, don't do this. You must learn to play golf this way. You're not allowed on our course unless you do this. You must have a handicap. Your handicap's not... I mean, it's just endless how much golf will sometimes try to institutionalize you. But being open to new ideas. So in a tech era where things are changing, stats are moving, ideas are moving, coaching's constantly trying to improve from a real stagnant period for a long time, being open-minded to ideas might allow you to find some new ideas to help you get better. And even trying them, even if they don't work, then you're allowed to kind of throw them away and use some other ones. Like, I am belting that to try and get somewhere near this green, and that is a style of golf when I grew up that would have been laughed at, where at the moment it's showing such rewards. It's about being open-minded. It doesn't mean you have to play a certain way. You can still find your niche, your skill set that applies for you. But if you're not trying different ideas, if you're not learning as the game develops, well, we do see a lot of stagnant voices in this game, and unfortunately some of them in places of, or getting heard of, places of power if you like. Being open-minded to learning makes you, in my opinion, a more skilled learner. The more skilled learner you are, the more chance you've got of achieving your actual goals. Play with better players. This one's really important for your growth as a golfer, because you can learn so much more off better players. What will happen when you play with better players is they will show you things that they're hopeless at and that you're good at, and you'll think, oh, I'm really good in that area compared to this lower handicapper. But then for them to be lower, there'll be something else that's excelling. You'll think, well, that's obviously got a lot of weight to it, what they're doing. They're hitting it 30 yards past me, or they're putting really like so much better. Whatever it is, playing with better players will really broaden your horizons of really what is good or bad golf. And this is something I really see, certainly on the internet world, where we have this thing that I call for fun YouTube handicaps. It's very clear from the playing videos that we do that lots of people are not really sure what a good player is or not, or what their potential is, because they're seeing like 5 holes where someone's having a nightmare, and then, well, that person's never off their handicap or whatever. And I just think, wow, that really shows their inability or inability to understand what is good golf and the potential of and what isn't. Playing with better players will really help you get more skilled at understanding your game. It'll really show you the improvements you might need to make when you play with a better player. Oh, look how good they were when they were hitting it in the trees and recovering it. Those kind of ideas. Or look how tight they were with their wedge play compared to mine, or their free wood from the deck. You know, whatever it is, it'll really shine some lights on what they're doing well compared to what you're not doing well, and at the same time what you're really good at and what's sustaining your ability, but also at the same time then what's holding you back to moving up to their ability. Playing with better players, it's such good for experience in your golf game. The last one, the most important one of all, I still believe, is make golf fun. Keep it fun. Find out what it is that makes you have fun while playing golf, and keep doing that thing and playing that game for that reason. That could be just making new friends. That could be doing all the elements we're talking about here and improving those skills, lowering your handicaps, playing with those better players and wanting to beat them. It doesn't matter what it is. Find out what it is and just keep hold of it. It's very easy to let golf beat you up, make you forget that you're actually out here to have enjoyment for most of you. Find out what that enjoyment comes from and go with it. And don't be afraid if that changes through life. Like for me, all these points and the more competitive ones would really apply. When I was learning and wanting to be the best and playing to like the ability I wanted to play to and better, or trying to get better than that ability, you know, it was the grind of trying to get better, that little incremental changes. For me now, it's more about just playing with my friends, seeing some great places, playing some good courses and a bit of exercise, as well as still trying to maintain some level of ability. It changes, it moves as your life moves. Just make sure you hold on to the fun element of the game. I see a lot of people falling out, getting angry, coming off a golf course, not enjoying it, and I just think, like, would you rather be at work? Like, there's a lot worse places we can be than on some beautiful golf courses, generally in decent weather, on some beautifully well kept grass. Keep it fun, have fun. Let me know if this video helps. Let me know if I've missed anything out down in those comments down below, if there's some things I think you think I've missed out, because there's loads of elements of what could make you better. But this is kind of my philosophy on a general outlook of what I would do and do with students to try and keep their elements of their game in place and push them forwards. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want more free golf videos, and don't be afraid to hit that like button if you like this kind of video, and then I'll just make loads more of them.